Welcome back to the channel, Bladeguard veteran lovers as well as animated shorts aficionados. This is Bruce and Studs, and man, the comments that were posted featuring the first review that had Titus as well as Levantus were something else to behold. It appears that JoyToy apparently knocked down the hornet's nest of us action figure collectors with the reveal of the mind-boggling scale change. However, let's not get distracted by that issue right now. Instead, let's focus on completing this review of this legendary quartet by giving Metaurus as well as Torvald their due time under the 6K LED lights. As Metaurus is a veteran sergeant, he is rocking the predominantly red helmet with a white stripe that's running down the center, but his helmet has been accentuated by shade in the recessed areas of the armor panels and gives this helmet a deep richness. Again, the top of the helmet is removable, revealing a slot to fit in an LED. However, unlike the collector's edition of Titus's squad, the LEDs sadly are not automatically included. Finally, I am a huge fan of the redesign of the helmet from the original Bladeguard helmets. I really like how the bareheaded version of Mr. Sergeant has a very steadfast and determined look, which is 100% appropriate for this grizzled veteran. I think that JoyToy did a great job of capturing Metaurus in plastic form with the full fluffy beard, which has the bonus of being deliciously highlighted. The eyes look perfectly fine in that there are no misalignment or any weird male eyeliner issues. The chest area is a very spicy looking region, which I enjoy looking at, with these interesting 3 layers of color consisting of gunmetal, blue, and gold. The color contrast is phenomenal, which takes the secret level Bladeguard to, well, another level. You'll also notice that there are words engraved in the collar, and they also heavily shaded it, which goes to show you the manufacturing skills of JoyToy. If they want to put in their figures, they can. The heraldic shield for Metaurus fits in perfectly with his aesthetic compared to Levantus's weird brown one. I think this gunmetal outlining further makes the shield pop against the gold in the background. Then the icon in the middle of the chest is also quite unique looking, with a skull and cross spreading its wings. I've said this before and I'll say it again. One of GW's strengths is making a squad look cohesive from afar, but when you look closer, each and every single one of these figures has something one-off about them. As I commented on the Levantus action figure, I absolutely adore the detail and the texture of this torso region. The texturization makes it look like he's wearing burlap with extensive shading and the cross-hatched finish. Moving back up to the pauldrons, the left one has a very nicely screened on U, and I like how the Ultra is carved into the plastic. Then instead of the Indominus symbol, Metaurus chose to sport some interestingly weaved bandages, which further makes his look one of a kind. Then on the other side, the right pauldron is encased in gold embroidery. However, the thing that really stands out to me is this modified crux. The reason why I say that is because the white and silver provides such a deep visual contrast and therefore draws your eyes to this area. This old school leather belt gives Metaurus an ancient medieval kind of vibe that I thoroughly enjoy. You can tell that he is ready to give it all because he is armed to the teeth with these strands of crack and frag grenades. I am, however, perplexed as to why JoyToy used 2 different methods of attaching these hand-thrown bombs to the waist. I love the ball and socket joint of these frag grenades, but I am not an enjoyer of this weird plastic attachment of the crack grenades because they feel so flimsy. This very highly detailed holster is removable. Then opposite to that is this left tasset, which has everything going on with it. I love the artistic flair with these 2 icons and this leering skull in the middle. Finally, the tabard in the middle is the absolute apex of manufacturing because it has these fantastic parallel textures and heavy shadowing of the recesses. Now, if you are enjoying this action figure review, I would highly suggest you to hit that subscribe button because I predominantly feature Warhammer 40K and Horus Heresy action figure reviews on my channel, and the best thing about subscribing is completely for free. Then sadly, we toned down the flare quite a bit for the legs, especially in the thigh area, which is sadly unadorned. The knees have this nice sun crown, another bleach skull, and the screen icon, which I appreciate, but this area still needs a bit of flair. Alright, during the previous review video, I had mentioned that Titus's backpack was not properly scaled down to his new size and therefore looked comically oversized. I thought that this was the case with Levantus and the rest of the Bladeguard trio, but apparently the secret level Bladeguard backpacks have actually been scaled down to their proper size. Here is a comparison of the secret level Titus backpack on my left hand and Metaurus's on my right. you'll see that Titus's is much bigger. And the difference is even more apparent when you look at them side by side like this. Anyway, commenting on the backpack itself, the golden sunburst hue looks absolutely resplendent and serves as the center point of attention for sure. However, once again, I think you might need to be careful with this area because it is quite wobbly. Whoa, I absolutely love this double-bladed axe, and I don't think that we see many axes of this magnitude and poignancy. Seeing the power sword, or in this case, power axe gunmetal gradient, is always a welcome sight to behold, as it gives these weapons a certain kind of character. I also find that the gold-winged skulls complement the twin blades quite perfectly. I am a big fan of how this plasma pistol looks, with one exception. You've got your characteristic black and gunmetal areas that you would usually find on Imperial firearms. The biggest difference of this weapon is that JoyToy decided to give this gunmetal a bit of patina instead of just leaving it a plain gunmetal. Veteran members of the chapter already know what exception I'm going to pick on, and it is, as you guessed, the color of the plasma coils. Why oh why do they keep using matte blue when they have used a metallic blue in the past? Now, looking at the Storm Shield, if you joined me on the previous review of the secret level Titus and Levantis, there are really no differences between Levantis' shield versus Metaurus and Torvald's. So I will hit some quick highlights. This center portion has some beautiful thick shading that I love. The designs on the shield are very crisp and defined. And then on the back, I pointed out, where is the stabilizing plastic strap that goes around the forearms? If you buy these figures, you will notice that the way the shield kind of makes the hand droop. So the lack of the plastic strap is a bit of a disappointment because I love it when my shields stand erect. All right, let's move on to Torvald's review. If you did not see my initial review of Levantis, please go take a look at it because I'm going to gloss over Torvald because he's quite similar. However, as usual, I will point out the key differences between these two so-called grunt Bladeguard veterans. First of all, the helmet area is the same along with the general construction of the pauldrons as well as the chest. The left pauldron on Torvald contains 2 purity seals, which his brother does not have. And you also notice that the verbiage is also different between these two brothers. And in fact, the saying on the right pauldron is different too. Sadly, the veteran icon is screened on, in which I would have much preferred to be raised because it gives the pauldron a little bit more character. Looking quickly at the chest area, both knights display tilt shields, but I like Torvald's better because his shield color is in line with the Ultramarines colors instead of this weird beige color that Levantis is rocking. I really like this sweet looking pendant right here that is looped around the shoulder joint and in the back of this heraldic shield because it gives this Bladeguard veteran his own unique look. Moving down the line, the torso and the tabard area looks more like a normal Ultramarines because Torvald is not wearing a burlap sack for his torso region and tabard. Instead, he's got this fantastically shaded and textured leather tabard, which is located both on the front as well as the back. I love how JoyToy used ball and socket joints to attach the grenades, as well as this pouch here. This then begs the question, why can't they do this for the rest of the characters? Finally, the legs, while they bear some similarities in general, there are some significant differences due to the skull and the Ultramarines U on the knees. I think in general that these decorations and iconography is perfect in this lower leg area. The heavy bolt pistol, as well as the power sword or gladius, and the storm shield are completely the same as his brothers, which is not a bad thing because all 3 of these items look really well built. All right, it is time for everybody's favorite part of the review, which is the size comparisons. So let's get to it. Again, we have our version 3 Blood Angels Intercessor on our left-hand side, which is slightly shorter than the 2 Bladeguard veterans in the middle. And then we have version 4 Titus that stands quite tall compared to these Bladeguard veterans. Off to the right-hand side is another version 4 action figure with the Relic Secundus armor. And off to the left-hand side, you have the Ultramarines Chaplain, or you can put in as a stand-in for Leandros. And I believe this is either a version 2 or a version 3 action figure. I really can't remember. Next, we have a redesigned Primaris Librarian, which is supposed to tower over a regular MK10 armored action figure. And finally, we have a version 1 Bladeguard Veteran Sergeant off to the left-hand side. Well, members of the chapter, that is the complete secret level squad reviewed. And now, let's draw some definitive conclusions. Well, first of all, Titus, I think, is the odd man out, obviously because he's not a Bladeguard veteran. I'll be honest with you, unfortunately, he just does not have enough presence or panache as the rest of the action figures in his squad. If you ask a person that knows absolutely nothing about Warhammer 40K lore and ask them to pick the action figure with the most flair, I can guarantee you Titus would not be picked. I do not think that this quartet is actually about Titus. In fact, it is all about the trio of the Bladeguard veterans. I think that each and every single one of them are fantastic looking in their own right, and all of them scream badass future knight. Metaurus' face sculpt and axe is absolutely perfect, and I think Torvald's leather tabard is a force to be reckoned with too. I firmly believe that the secret level Bladeguard veterans are a vast improvement over the OG Warhammer 40K Bladeguard veteran releases, but we won't really know definitively until we do a side-by-side comparison of them, in which that will happen in a later video. Anyway, I think that if you are a Bladeguard veteran fan, I believe that Metaurus, Torvald, as well as Levantis are going to be must-buys for you. Then as for Titus, well, if you have the first edition one or the collector's edition one, I would say that the secret level one is definitely a hard pass. Speaking of buying these trio of action figures or the quartet, just click on the link in the description below where you will be brought to a very strong channel supporter by the name of David Toys. David Toys is where I get all of these fantastic action figures, and as I have said before, they have fantastic customer service and offer fast, free, as well as tariffless shipping. And finally, do not forget to use my affiliate code SNS to receive 12% off of your purchase. Alright, members of the chapter, please let me know what you thought of these secret level action figures in the comments below. Did these guys really live up to the height and expectations, or did they fold like Torvald as well as Levantis in the face of pressure? Again, just leave a comment below. Anyways, members of the chapter, thank you so much for watching this action figure review video. I appreciate all of your support as usual with your viewership, your likes, comments, subscribes, as well as shares. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one.